Clean here for grade and paid education services. We provide training for tomorrow's wastewater and essential personnel. We wanted to let you guys know off the top a few things that are good for you, hopefully good for me. We're going to be running a promotion through September. Right now, if you purchase any of our courses, that course will also come with the course notes for free. On top of that, there's 25% off all courses through September. That's also off of the tutoring as well. So courses or tutoring, and for right now, with a purchase, you'll get the course notes. So sign up and benefit. We're here to answer some of your questions. We've been getting some questions and a lot of them are the same, so I figured could make a video and kind of answer all of you guys' questions as a group. So, one thing I should mention before we go further is grade 2 is available now. So you have grade 1 and grade 2 fully available. We're working on grade 3. I know some guys are waiting on it. We're getting right on top of it. So working on grade 3. Stay tuned. Why am I dressed like this? Again, with the glasses, I'm gonna lose them. It's cloudy today. No mosquitoes this time. No mosquitoes today. So why am I dressed like this if I'm advertising wastewater treatment? Well, it's one of the questions I get a lot is how dirty is this job? I just figure I'd demonstrate. This is how I went to work for in one of my jobs for the better part of 6 months. Went to work just like this. Why? Because wastewater is controlled remotely. It's all computer. I don't know, people might be thinking that you put on knee-high boots and dive in the water. Like, I'm not exactly sure how that would treat the waste. But generally speaking, we have machines in 2023. We have machines that do all the work. That's true in the landfills, in any kind of work. Take advantage of all these brainiacs that know how to design machines to make our jobs easier. That's one job. I've worked in a few different plants and a few different facilities. Not every job you can go dressed in a suit. However, I want to say I've had six different jobs officially in this industry. Of those, let's say 5, just to be on the safe side. I don't want to over guess, but of those, I only remember one where every day I could go and guarantee that I was going to get dirty that day. And incidentally, that was the highest paid of all the jobs that I've had. So they compensate you for it. Apart from that, as a wastewater treatment plant operator, you need to be aware of 2 places that smell. Most of the plant does not smell. Headworks is where the water comes in. It's untreated, so yeah, it's gonna smell. Even then, the smart people have figured out that you can do stuff to reduce odors and protect yourself. You can add a chemical, even bleach, to kind of dampen the smell, as well as aeration. Aerating the sewage kind of gives you a little pre-treatment before you actually treat in the plant. So there's several things you can do. What I always do when I start a shift, if I have to go to the headworks, which, yeah, you usually do if you're doing your rounds well. If I have to go to the headworks, open all the doors of the facility, ensure that the fans are running, the odor control fans, and then go in with a gas meter so that if there's any hydrogen sulfide in the environment, you're aware of it. But it's really not that bad. Open all the doors, have all the fans running. If the fans are broken, that's a big deal, and your superiors will know that it's a big deal. So if you say, hey, I can't enter this place because there's not adequate ventilation, they will completely understand. So that's what safety first in this industry, generally speaking. So you don't really have to worry. They'll give you what you need. If some place is bad enough, they'll even give you a respirator if it's what's required for that environment. But generally speaking, there's just nothing that bad in the wastewater treatment plant. The second place you'd have to be aware of is biosolids. This is where, you've treated the water, now the solids have to be removed for disposal. That can get pretty smelly. I will say that typically there's one particular place with particular operators that deal with biosolids. In the plants that I've worked in recently, they take the solids and they send it outside of the plant for treatment. So you never deal with it. Where in any case, even if you have to deal with it, you don't go. That's one of the questions I have here. Will I go home smelly? You don't go home smelly. Everything's on you as an operator. I have seen people who would, maybe they'd work all day in biosolids and go home without showering. That's them. That doesn't mean that that's how wastewater treatment is done. The first thing that they do in every plant is fit you for uniforms. Use your uniforms. They give you work boots. They give you waterproof, like wading boots, knee highs. They give you Tyvek suits. They give you face masks, whatever you need to do the job. Face shield, eye goggles, gloves. You'll see at every plant. We go through boxes and boxes of disposable gloves. You don't handle the stuff with your bare hands. It's just common sense. So whatever you need to get the job done, they will give you, including your uniforms. So use your uniform at work, and they will launder it for you. Services are provided that will launder the clothes, and they'll give you sufficient amount of clothes for you to do your work through the week, and then next week you come in and they've brought a new batch of clothes for you. So you don't have to take it home. You don't have to mix the stuff with your personal clothes. You will be given time to shower and change. You will not need to go home smelly. So that's if you get smelly in the first place. Like I said, I have not seen that being a daily occurrence in my experience in wastewater treatment. So again, there are some jobs that are completely clean. You'll never smell the stuff. You'll never touch the stuff. You won't even see the stuff because it's remote. That gets into some of the schedule. What is the schedule like is another question that I received. Is there remote work? I kind of blend those two questions together. There is remote work. You might see some guys or know of some guys who are able to check in on their treatment plant from home. I was offered a job like that. A little buyers beware on that, because yes, you check your treatment plant at home. Typically what that means is you're working at a plant. It's just that when you go home, they also want you to be checking on the plant. So it's actually extra work. Um, the job that I told you I go dressed like this, and that was remote. It was remote in that we were controlling plants elsewhere. But I did have to go to a facility in order to access that very expensive and complicated control software in order to do our job. So there's limits on that. If it is your aim, because to me, I just like to deal in reality. Everything is leverage. So if it is your aim to get a completely remote, like work from home type of job with like super flexible hours, I think you can find it. I do think you can find it. You just have to ask yourself, what leverage do I have? Right? Do I have any experience in the industry? Chances are the people watching this video do not have any experience in this industry. What grade level do I have? If you haven't taken any of the courses, you probably don't have a grade, right? So now, really, what incentive does someone have to give you this special position that probably other guys with grade levels and with experience would like? So I say go for it. Nothing. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you to look for exactly what you want. Hey, I don't ever want to smell this stuff. I don't ever want to. But do you know anything about this industry that someone would give you that job? Try. Maybe you surprise us all and you get that position. And I'd just say kudos. Everything is leverage. If you can do it, it's what they say in sports all the time. You are worth whatever someone will pay you. I can't hate on that. Go get it if it's available. But typically the work schedule is, depending on where you're at, it's flexible. There's different schedules available. Usually full time, but I've worked a job where I worked 3 days a week, and it was full time. 4 10s, 3 12s, different ways of working it. I've worked 5 days a week, and sometimes had to alternate on the weekends. There's different schedules. It depends on where you're at. Different places are more open to creative schedules. Maybe if you are in a smaller community, they have to do what they have to do, and they need the staffing pretty much every day of the week, and they don't have the flexibility to do 3 days or something like that. So it just depends. I really do recommend municipal work because there's some guarantees, and since their bottom line is not profit, they won't stop at anything to make sure their workers are safe. On top of benefits and other things that come with municipal work. Private, I said to myself, well, why would anyone want to work in private? Private industry, someone told me, it goes back to what I said before. You're worth whatever they say. Whereas municipal government work, you have slots. And it doesn't matter if you're way overqualified, they can only pay you the highest of that slotted position. So private doesn't have those limits. Let's see. What's available outside of the state of California? We've kind of touched lightly on that. I can't speak on every single state. I used to work in Maryland, and I was working in a smaller town in Maryland. See, it's completely different. See, that's why I say you can't really say for every location, but in the slow paced smaller town, I was working more of a 5 day a week regular schedule. You also have to think that those schedules, if it's a 24-hour plant, they might make you rotate, or you can hire for that position. For that day shift schedule or night shift or whatever it is your preference. You can hire for it, but there'll be openings when people take off or when people get sick on those other shifts. So depends on you. That might be a good thing because there's in those type of plants there's always overtime opportunity. Always. So however, make of that what you will. Usually that's voluntary. I've only been one place where they kind of try to sort of say it was mandatory, but usually you don't have an issue with that at all. Let's see. What other questions do I have here before we get out of here? Here's one. Do women work in the industry? The answer is yes. I've seen more women work in the industry in California. It tends to be, well, I'm not going to say it seems more progressive. I don't know what that even means, but yeah, California is usually, at least in the wastewater industry, they're at the forefront of the innovation, and so there are women in the industry. Generally speaking, I would say it is male dominant. But it goes back to what we talked about. Our purpose here at Grade and Paid. Again, ideal in reality. I'm never going to make a social or political statement. That's not my purpose. But just numbers wise, if this industry skews men ages 45 to 70, you can only draw from that well so many times. Especially now, if you talk about race too, then you're even being more selective. So, for us to replenish the personnel in this industry, yes, we need to appeal to a wider selection of people, and that's what we're all about. We want to get young people in this industry. We want to get women in this industry, people of different backgrounds, so that when my boss, or I'm making it up, but when someone says, "Hey, we need to cover these shifts with mandatory overtime," they can look and say, "Oh, no, we actually have plenty of workers. We have plenty of help." So yeah, that helps us all. So again, grade 2 is out now. I know some guys were waiting for it. Grade 3 is on the way. Get that promo. It's in the details below, because I can't think of it off the top right now. But get that promo. Get your 25% off and free notes with a purchase. Also, we're still having that promo. If you can guess where I am, mosquitoes aren't biting today, but I was a little hot, even though it's cloudy. If you can guess where I am, one guess only, you can get 50% off a tutoring session or one of our courses. So sign up and get that grade, get paid.